Today's decision is a win for the Constitution and a win for the sanctity of human life. Amen. June 24th, 2022, a date that will be remembered for a win for the sacredness of human life.
And just because you have emotional scars doesn't give you the right to take the life.
You don't believe the state of Arkansas would have any exceptions at all?
The reason that we have waited is to see a court ruling from the Supreme Court that gave us the capacity to fulfill that. So that's exactly what it would be.
In South Dakota, the law today is that the abortions are illegal except to save the life of the mother.
And you would be okay with that, a 10-year-old girl having to have a baby?
No, I'm never okay with that. In fact, that story will keep me up at night. What I would say is I don't believe a tragic situation should be perpetuated by another tragedy.
Let me tell you what will help you out more in your life. When you have a baby and you love someone more than you've ever loved anyone in your entire life.
I want to thank you for the historic victory for life.
Conservatives are still celebrating the overturning of Roe versus Wade, but the situation that actually happens on the ground when it comes to patients, the doctors, hospitals, and actually reality of medical procedures has to start happening. And as we see it happen, the celebrations become a lot different than the reality. Let's go to some of the reality because it's already beginning to happen from day one. So this is from the Washington Post. They mentioned how barely moments after the Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade, jubilant activists excitedly turned to the next step: criminalizing abortion to the maximal extent possible. This includes blocking women from seeking abortions across state lines, we know about that, and even empowering citizens to punish people who help those women by hitting them with vigilante lawsuits. That's important. It's gonna go to exactly how people are responding, whether or not those lawsuits are coming or not, and that was by design. The rush to criminalize abortion is also opening up a separate front on the abortion wars that involve the treatment process itself. At its core is an unsettling question. How can a doctor be certain whether conducting an abortion to protect a woman from grave injury or death might constitute a crime? They don't really know. Louisiana's trigger laws, which a state judge has temporarily blocked, provide exceptions to the abortion ban if a woman faces potential death or extremely serious injury. Yet again and again, the medical professionals testify that fear of facing prosecution will lead healthcare providers to refrain from exercising that exception to act in patients' treatment interests. Why is this? Precisely because it's not clear from the language in the trigger laws how a sick patient must be to qualify as an exception. Some of these sick patients sometimes have ectopic pregnancies we've been talking about. This is a particular, personal story from one nurse that has a presence, has a platform, and she talked about this letter that she did receive from another nurse that saw this immediately, and these are the type of stories that have been getting talked about. Let's watch.
This is from an L&D nurse in one of the states that passed an immediate and all-encompassing abortion ban. I don't have a platform, so I can't reach people like you can, but please share this. I work in blank on a small NICU L&D floor. Our trigger laws went into effect immediately after the decision. Of course, we had a woman with an ectopic walk in at 11:30 last night. We had to basically sit on her until the doctor could speak with a lawyer. Her ectopic ruptured. She then did not get her procedure done for another 9 hours because the doc was working with the lawyer for so long, trying to work around the laws and not lose his license. By the time she had her procedure, she had over 600 cc's of blood in her abdomen. She almost died. I'm so scared of how often we as nurses are going to have to see things like this and not be able to do a damn thing about it. We are all livid at Huddle tonight. Several of my coworkers were in tears. This is day one. This is day one. Women are going to die.
Stories like that from cross country from nurses and doctors that are seeing some patients, but that's just a one-off story. I get it, who knows? It's anecdotal, it only happens once. And she's just telling that because she wants to push her agenda. No actual congressperson or a state senator or any of these folks who are making these trigger laws who now have gone into effect, they wouldn't be talking about ectopic pregnancies don't mean anything, would they? Here's Brian Sates from Oklahoma.
Which states that abortion is okay to remove an ectopic pregnancy. And can you explain to me why that exception is in there?
Thank you for the question. This is language I didn't focus on too much. Oh, it's what abortion does not include. I cannot say why that particular language is in here, but to me it would be common sense to put that language in here.
Senator Hamilton, you're recognized for a follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. President. But a child who is, in fact, living out part of his or her early life as the unfortunate circumstance of being an ectopic pregnancy is, in fact, still a unique human being with its own DNA. And I wonder, I just don't understand why we've created an exception where we allow those children to be murdered, but not the others.
Those children, I'm sorry, that's not Brian Seitz, that's Warren Hamilton from April when they were discussing this. Why that child, as the ectopic pregnancy that's gonna kill the mother, why they can't experience life? They're not experiencing it. That's an ectopic pregnancy. These are the type of people who are making these laws, Waz.
Right, they don't even understand abortion fully. They just know that they want sex to have consequences, JR. Like basically that's what it boils down to. Because again, it bears repeating. These people don't want to support mothers who, carried out an unwanted pregnancy because of financial and economic constraints. They don't want to support them in any way, in that way. They don't want to endorse sexual education, birth control, contraception access. They don't actually care to be like, all right, let's prevent these unwanted pregnancies in the first place. They just don't care. They just really want to be in the sex lives of women, particularly. That's basically what they want. And they want women to face quote unquote consequences when or if they have sex for sport. It's obvious that's all they care about. But the fact of the matter is that the reason why Roe was passed in the first place is that people are gonna get abortions if they want them, one way or another. That's just the simple fact of life here. And so we could either make it safe for them to do so, or we could do the dumb stuff that we're doing right now. But best believe this is not going to actually stop people from obtaining abortions. I promise you that.
Well, I mean, I don't think they really care. It's honestly the other part about this whole push is also to win elections and say that you're holier than on your moral Christian values, all the same stuff that they actually don't live when they're actually putting in these laws together that discriminate against folks, that actually get people hurt and killed. So that whole Christian approach we know is nonsense, but they've convinced enough people. That's just the approach that there is. Hurt people and then get elected. It's great, it's a good job. That's what our politicians do here.